Tonight's guest, Miko Peled. Miko, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Let's start off with how you ended up getting to where you are today as an activist, as a supporter of the one state solution. Kind of give us the background of your family and your history in Israel.
Sure. I was born in Jerusalem to a very, very prominent Zionist family. I have a signer of the Declaration of Independence, a president of the state. My father was a general, and other members of the family who held, important positions both in the establishment of Israel and in the early decades of the state. And so I was a staunch patriotic Zionist as you could possibly be. And then gradually, as the subtitle of my book, The General Son, suggests, I began what I call the journey of an Israeli into Palestine. And the journey of an Israeli into Palestine really forces us to think about two things. Number one, what's an Israeli? What is Israel? And what is Palestine? Where is Palestine? And that journey, which is actually began in the United States with my first meetings with Palestinians, took me to this realm of the other that I was never a part of, I never knew about, I never learned about. And even though I was born and raised in Jerusalem, which many people think is a mixed city, and in many ways it is, but it's a completely segregated city, just like the rest of the country is segregated. So I was, minutes away from Palestinian neighborhoods, but our lives were different. We never met. I mean, the segregation was complete. And then, like I said, I started meeting Palestinians here in the United States. That's really where the journey began. And then gradually began to hear this other story, this other narrative. Now, coming from the family that I came from, I had no doubt that I had full possession of the truth. And suddenly I'm sitting across the table with some very nice people, very intelligent people, and they're literally telling me that night is day and day is night. And what many Israelis, this was the context was a Jewish-Palestinian dialogue group that in the early 2000s was very popular in Southern California. And I couldn't dismiss these people as many other Jews and Israelis did. These people, I mean the Palestinians. And I began to look into it deeper and look into it deeper. And then I read what some of the, new Israeli historians were writing, people like Ilan Pape and others, and kind of began to meet Palestinians, to travel myself into Palestinian cities, both within 1948, which is called Israel, and within the West Bank, and of course Jerusalem. And I realized that I was born as an Israeli in Palestine, that the entire country was Palestine, and it's just had been occupied and renamed. And thus the journey of an Israeli, which is this really new creation of a people, people who came to colonize Palestine, Jewish people who came to colonize Palestine, who are now this new people that exist and live in Palestine. And we are in Palestine, and we are occupiers, and we are colonizers. And there's no such thing as a good occupation. There's no such thing as a, benign colonizer. That doesn't exist. And gradually, step by step, through these interactions, through the travel, through speaking with Palestinians, I remember the minute this happened, actually, the actual moment that I realized the one state, two state conversation is the wrong conversation. The reality is that there exists a one state over all of Palestine, and that's the apartheid state of Israel. The two state is a myth. There is no option for a two state. Even if there was one a long time ago, Israel made it impossible, completely took it off the table with facts on the ground. And so the option is a one state, which is called Israel, gives privileges to people like myself at the expense of Palestinians, which is apartheid, which is a crime against humanity. Or we fight for, if we believe in democracy and we believe in equal rights and we believe in justice, then we fight for a single democracy with equal rights. A free Palestine, a free democratic Palestine with equal rights, and mechanisms for allowing refugees to return. So that was kind of an intersection for me, a fork in the road where I had to choose, where do my values lie? Yes, my family was a big part of the creation of this new thing, of the state of Israel. But basically the narrative, the story of the creation of Israel, the story of the Jews coming to colonize as opposed to the Jews coming to make the desert bloom. I had to make a choice. Where do I feel comfortable in terms of my values? And my values led me to believe that only a single democracy, a free democratic Palestine with equal rights, is the only other option if we don't accept the violence and racism.
And we can get into that because I still do believe in a two-state solution. So we could kind of debate this as the time goes on here. But I want to get into your childhood and growing up. Where did your family originally come from?
On my mother's side, they came from Belarus. On my father's side, they came from Ukraine. But basically, Russia, Ukraine, Eastern Europe. That's we're Ashkenazi Jews.